Good evening and welcome to L'Escargot Blanc in the Western Languedoc. I'm Fred Berkmiller, chef and owner of both L'Escargot Bleu and L'Escargot Blanc.
And what have you won tonight?
I haven't won anything, but L'Escargot Bleu I've won best restaurant of year 2019 going to 2020, which is a fabulous prize to have.
And why are you supporters of slow food?
I'm supporters of slow food because I like food myself. I starve myself twice a day, 365 days out of the year. All I think of is food, and I think slow food is a philosophy. Slow food is thinking like my grandmother. Slow food is killing the light when it needs to be killed and buying fish when it's fresh. And it's been rare, it's been cautious, been careful, been noisy, and understanding food. That's why I believe in slow food. It's a whole package. It's definitely not a trend. It's not something fancy. It's just food as it should be. I spend a great length of time to select, to source and to buy food for 2 restaurants and 1 bar. We buy from anywhere and everywhere in Scotland and in France a little bit. We consider anyone that has a slow food mind, and a slow food mind again is being cautious and being careful, making sure that pigs had a great life, it's had enough to live, it's been able to run. I think the world we live in, people are very, very, very interested, but more than that, they want to know and they have the right to know where their food is coming from and how it's been bought, how it's been bred, what it's been fed with. Customers are coming to us, they're paying us to supply food to them in their own right. They can ask and know where that food is coming from. We serve probably 1,200 meals a week between 2 restaurants. I think we have a duty on going out and buy the best we can buy.
I'm Wendy Barry from Scottish Food Guide, and we're here at L'Escargot Blanc tonight celebrating the Slow Food Awards. I'm here to collect the prize for the North Romsey sheep. Nobody has come down from North Romsey today, but I'm doing my little bit because they've won the Slow Food Champion Best Product for Scotland. We support linking the chefs with the sheep, and I enjoy buying the yarn because they have wonderful yarn as well. So anything we could do to support the island, the inhabitants, the crofters, and of course it's a fantastic product, it's delicious.
What makes it slow food?
It's the only Presidium product we have in Scotland, and it's a Presidium product because it's a very special heritage food, but it's also of its community. So without it being a community effort, a community life, then it wouldn't have attained that top award of the Presidium. They're kind of herded in to the ponds, they call it ponding, a couple of times a year. The rest of the time they're wild on the beach. So they're the only purely seaweed eating sheep. And for that they have a wild and spicy flavour and a darker meat. They're also slow growing. So any of the mutton you eat will be usually 5 years old. So it's the Slow Food Champion product in Scotland, and they're very honoured and they're absolutely delighted.
Why should we all be embracing slow food?
Well, it is fundamental to our biodiversity and the health of our earth. So it's not just about let's have a nice meal out. This is about keeping our culture, keeping our biodiversity, keeping our breeds going. Because without them, if everything was crossbred and everything was the same, we'd be stuffed actually. It's so important to keep these heritage foods and heritage breeds going. And they live off next to nothing. So they're not causing any harm to the climate. They're providing us with a wonderful food source. So they tick every box. And there's absolutely nothing detrimental to climate or anything else about the North Romsey community or their sheep.
I'm with Bryce Cunningham, who is from Mossgiel Farm, and he is the winner of last year's Scottish Rural Awards in the Farming and Agriculture category, and he is also a winner of tonight's Slow Food Awards. Bryce, what have you won tonight?
Tonight I've won Person of the Year for the Slow Food Scotland. Very happy to have won it and very delighted to have been nominated. What we want to do is we've got a real passion to bring old-fashioned food back to the modern way of food. And by doing so, we just want to be honest and we want to be very upfront with what we're doing on the farm, and both working with ourselves, with rolling cows, and working with other farmers as well. Well, the farm itself, 5 years ago, was a conventional dairy farm. At the time, my father had just passed away and I was very new into farming, and also at the same time the milk price had collapsed. Now at that time I hadn't realised the importance of old-fashioned food, organic food, and food that was grown with passion and compassion. So we started looking into a more reliable and a more sustainable way of farming, and through that research and over the years we've discovered that the old-fashioned way, using some modern techniques to basically overcome the issues of the past, we've now managed to create food products in a slow way, in a natural way, in an organic way, to try and bring a passionate food to the citizens of Scotland. I believe in low processed foods and foods that are the most natural, so foods with less ingredients, foods that are closer to nature, foods we would have eaten perhaps not 100 years ago but 500 years ago. And supermarkets today are chasing profit, they're not chasing a passion, they're not chasing any sort of health benefit. So I believe that we should be working with natural producers of food to eat a more natural diet. When we first started out on our journey to become an organic farm 5 years ago, and all the other things that we do, for example, we leave the baby calves with the mothers, so the calves are getting a natural diet, so that when they produce milk, it's the most natural milk that we can produce. And various other aspects of that, we've actually now managed to persuade other farmers to join in our plight, and we're now taking milk from their farms, so then pasteurising it on our farm in a very slow way, and then taking it to customers nowadays in old-fashioned reusable packaging. And I believe that the holistic approach to that, from joining other farmers to reach the end consumer in one small go, is the way to go nowadays. It's been very exciting. As I say, we've only actually started farming in this way about 4 years ago. However, we've actually managed to reach people in London who have been taking the milk, and even someone was over from Canada just 2 years ago and they'd heard about us in Canada and they were desperate to try our product. They wanted to come to the farm that we're on, which coincidentally was Robert Burns' farm, and which sparked their interest initially. But when they discovered that we were offering really old-fashioned milk from Scottish grass under Scottish weather from a Scottish cow, which is the Ayrshire cow, they were really intrigued to come find us on their holiday to Scotland and drink our milk. So it's been quite incredible how it's expanded.
I don't deal with supermarket, I don't believe in supermarket, and people today, customers in general, are walking away from supermarkets. I think our health, our thinking, our brain, our muscles are relying on what we are feeding them with. It's extremely important that we know what comes into our body. And as a chef or as a restaurant owner, I am due to tell my customers what they are eating when they're spending time with us.